Okay, Chris in Birmingham, Britain's second city, I believe. Terror Storm is a kick-ass documentary. 5 minutes on a megaphone outside Westminster Abbey and gets a police warning. Classic. Oh, well, there we are. That's good. There's happy.
But not just when I was on a megaphone. I would be out front, just a little train station where they shot Charles Jimenez. And I'd be quietly talking to people, and the cops would walk over and ask if I had permission to be filming. And I thought all I needed was, the Magna Carta. But I guess Tony Blair 6 years ago announced that was dead.
I mean, to be honest, filming anywhere in Britain for years has been a no-no. The amount of times I used to get stopped when filming for my TV show.
It's like the Taliban, isn't it?
How do they do it? Hey, why do you put up with that? Britons have never been like that. Let these turkeys know you're not slaves.
Well,
give them some British steel.
Hang on. Let me tell you, we are slaves. What are you talking about? Of course we're flipping slaves. I can't go into a shop and buy a bottle of wine on a Sunday afternoon because of some stupid religious problems. All right? In this country. Liquor laws. I can't actually. There are loads of things I can't do in this country. I mean, if I don't have a television license, I get threatening letters from the BBC.
Well, I'm trying to figure this out. Excuse me. So, why are they saying you can't engage in news gathering on the streets?
Because that's the way it is, and in this country, you've got to have permission to do almost anything. And remember, in this country,
you have permission to wipe your butt.
You should do, but a lot of us don't bother.
I do it illegally.
Yeah, I know you do. A lot of us actually, let's not get into the realms of silliness just yet. I mean, Alex is serious and we want to take him serious.
I am serious and you guys somehow have gotten me off into something I've never done.
No, that's good. Okay, let's take a few calls, get back onto it, okay?
Okay, I'd like to get into the evidence of 9/11 being an inside job if you'd like.
Should we do that first and then go to calls?
Well, it's your show. We can take calls and then do it if you like. We've got the NIST report saying bombs may have been in the buildings.
Tell me about that.
Okay. They've given 5 different reasons that Building 7, that giant 47-story tower, perfectly blew up and fell into a tiny little pile at 5:23 p.m. that afternoon. First, they said the North Tower fell into it. Then there was a video and photos, and we proved it wasn't true, so they said, okay, it didn't. Then they claimed a fuel oil tank blew up. Then that was proven to be a fraud. Then they claimed it was faulty construction. Then they admitted that was a fraud. Then the underwriters of the building, Underwriting Laboratories' own engineer, went public saying clearly the official story was a fraud. And then the owner slipped up on TV and said, no, we actually gave the order to blow it up that day. But still there's been denials about this. And for those that don't know, it takes weeks to put bombs in a building. And in my film Terror Storm, we show Building 7 falling. Perfect controlled demolition experts, major company heads have gone public saying it's one of the most beautiful controlled demos they've ever seen. Well, here's the headline from prisonplanet.com. When you read the article, it links through to the mainstream government website that's made the announcement. NIST to probe whether WTC-7 downed by bombs. Forced to issue response to 9/11 Truth Movement questions on official website. The National Institute of Standards and Technologies is set to conclude its investigation of the World Trade Center collapse by analyzing if bombs brought down WTC-7, the 47-story skyscraper that was not hit by a plane, yet collapsed in a controlled demolition style in under 7 seconds. And NIST is now saying that, quote, let me find the quotes here. NIST would like to determine the magnitude of hypothetical blast scenarios that could have led to the structural failure of one or more critical elements causing the collapse. Then there is another quote in here. And so they're now having to admit that they can't understand why it fell. The University of Glasgow in England also looked at it and couldn't make a building fall. And so all these scientists, the modern steel building had never fallen from fire. Okay. Then they claim that planes knocked down Tower 1 and 2. Which has been disproven too. But Building 7 wasn't even hit and still it fell, and now they're having to look at bombs.
But that doesn't mean that, that could mean that the terrorists got into these buildings and put the bombs in there before they flew the planes in.
Yeah, they say that, but James, 7, and you can type this into Google, just type in Building 7 tenants. Okay. It was a private building. All 47 stories were government. Guess what was in there? The National Security Agency, Defense Intelligence, Central Intelligence, that's CIA, IRS, Army intelligence, the city command bunker. Okay, this was a huge spook building with full security and a perimeter with armed guards with machine guns, and it would take at least 2 weeks to wire this building for a perfect controlled demolition.
Okay. Do you want to know? I am listening to you, and I'm just reading Friday's papers as well.
And eating a Twix.
No, I've done that. Front page of the Express this morning, the Diana dossier, the witness they set out to discredit. Interesting story in there. But the Daily Mirror front page this morning, you're going to love this. Fury as W assassinated.
Yeah, that's that new stupid movie they're putting out, hyping the terrorist threat where terrorists kill the stupid puppet George W. Bush, who's from Maine, not from Texas. By the way, he's afraid of horses, but he wears a stupid cowboy hat. You only wear that when you're working in the sun all day, like a sombrero. And from a real cowboy who grew up on a ranch, and my family, is Texas as it gets.
Are you a real cowboy?
Real deal, yes, I am.
I love cowboys.
Well, there's not real many of them, but the point is that this whole thing is completely and totally staged.
Okay. Well, it's a channel for a hard-hitting British TV drama that shows President Bush assassinated by a terrorist sniper sparked outrage last night.
Oh, yeah, it's just total propaganda. It creates the myth that terrorists want to kill the president. And later, after we take some calls, I'd like to go through the different types of terrorists, because there are real Muslim terrorists, and I want to be honest about that, but they're absolutely no threat, and so we can break down how they provocateur these and how they do it.
How can they be no threat? I mean, if they're trying to kill us and they sort of run around with explosives strapped to their bodies, I think they're quite a big threat.
Well, let me just be clear about that. Predominantly statistically, in the aggregate, if you're talking about real terrorists that really carry out real attacks, they only kill a couple hundred people every year in the Middle East and very few in Europe. They are almost unheard of in Europe. And so when you've got hundreds of thousands of people dying every year in the U.S. from car accidents, I don't know what the numbers are in England. I would imagine it's tens of thousands, and tens of thousands drowning, and tens of thousands committing suicide. I'm saying you've got a better chance, and they've done the numbers on this, of being struck by lightning, than you do of being killed by a terrorist, even if you believe the official numbers. And then when you take out the government terrorist attacks, the big, highly coordinated ones, the staged events, and look at real Muslim terrorist attacks, they are as rare as a blue moon. I mean, it is like finding an Easter bunny with a leprechaun. This just doesn't happen.
We've got to take some calls. Let's go to Essex. Chris, you're on the air through to Alex Jones. Hi, Chris.
You all right, James?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I've got a question for Alex.
Yeah, go on.
Hi, Alex.
Hello, Governor.
You all right? I was just got to say something to ask you. Would you? There's living hijackers in.
Yes.
Like in Saudi Arabia. And,
yes.
I've seen a BBC article on it.
Yes.
Would you ever get them on your show and interview them?
Yeah, we've tried to do that. The telephones, number one, don't work too well in many of those countries. It's very hard to get a hold of people, and not everybody, but you think it's bad with Joneses and Smiths in England, but folks over there, it's very hard. We have tried, but since he raises that, let me just hit you with the number one 9/11 smoking gun that it's an inside job.
Okay.
Number one. The dean of the Defense Language School, the Fulbird colonel that ran the Monterey Defense Spy School, a month and a half after 9/11, and I talked to him, went public to the San Jose Mercury News and the Associated Press with the headline, Bush made 9/11 happen. Now, I called him a day after it. He was already being threatened with court-martial, the head of the college, the secret military spy college, and his wife is screaming at him in the background, "They've threatened you. Don't talk to him. I told you." And he's like, "Mr. Jones, I'd love to be able to go public and talk to you, but I can't." And he hung up the phone. But what we do know out of the news articles is that he went public saying, listen, these hijackers were U.S. government agents. We were forced to train them here at the spy base. Now, let me add a bunch of other evidence. We have Pensacola News Journal, MSNBC, and Newsweek magazine. In plain view, this was all reported, that at least 5 of the hijackers were trained at the Pensacola Naval Air Station in some type of secret spy program. That's the East Coast now. We have the West and the East Coast. Then I interviewed two separate embassy heads, the head of the Ottawa Embassy in Canada for the entire country of Canada for the U.S., and the head of the Saudi Arabian U.S. Embassy. The so-called hijackers, who were U.S. government agents, they left and went to Malaysia in 2000. They were trying to come back from that famous Al-Qaeda summit, as it was billed. When they got to Saudi Arabia and Canada, they were flagged as terrorists on the computer and were barred re-entry. They'd already been in the U.S. back in. The CIA called up via on the phone with one of the highest level people from the State Department and told both embassy chiefs, "You're to let them in. This terrorism listing."
Can you prove that?
Yeah, it's been in our news, and I've interviewed the embassy heads.
Okay.
These guys are U.S. government agents. The terrorist label is their cover.
If you can prove that, why has nobody taken it further then? If that is actually on the record and the proof is there, yeah, sure.
Let me tell you. Sure. We have the White House memo between Tony Blair and George W. Bush 2 months before the bombardment started in March of 2003, 3.5 years ago. This is Times of London, Associated Press, New York Times, Washington Post. It is not debatable. The documents have been confirmed to be authentic. Blair and Bush have been trying to say they want to arrest whoever released it. It was released out of 10 Downing Street. There's some patriots there. Again, this is why they're going to lose, because good people are in there. It is the minutes, the quotes of Bush and Blair. You cover the news, James. You heard about it. The White House memo makes the Downing Street memo look like a joke. And in there, Bush says, we've got to stage some type of provocation, fly a plane low, paint it up like the UN, get Saddam to shoot it down, stage WMD fines. That is all public. Why aren't they both impeached? Why haven't they both been indicted? Why haven't they both been removed? Lying to take us to war, red-handed, and you're right, nothing's being done.
Thank you, Chris. Let's go to Ross in God's own country, North Yorkshire.
Hi there, James. Hi, Alex.
Hello.
All right, yeah, I'm just ringing to say I think you're doing a fantastic job. One of the query for you is the building that was blown up, detonated, that came down like a stack of cards.
Yes.
It would have taken probably a 7-man team 2 weeks. Just to actually put in place the actual, bombs, etc.
Yes.
So why didn't anybody see,
They actually did. Take Oklahoma City, another government bombing. I interviewed Jane Graham and 2 others, even a security guard, who saw white men, drilling the columns in they have the maintenance halls in these big buildings, areas people never even go. But Jane Graham was the head of HUD on the top floor, so she would, the elevators at 9 a.m. would be busy, so she was wanting to get exercise. She was overweight, so she would walk up the 9 flights. And 2 days in a row before they blew up the Oklahoma City building, there's these guys with drills putting, quote, gray butter on them. That's plastic explosive C4, boys and girls, hexogen. And so they caught them doing it, and it's the same thing. Building 7 was run by the CIA. They ran security on the building. People did see suspicious things. In fact, a Secret Service agent had said he saw suspicious things happening the week before. He's the only person that died in Building 7, even though it evacuated, for 8 hours before it collapsed, 7 hours before it collapsed. Magically, the one witness, obviously they killed him and threw him in the building before they blew it up. And they had, in the month before 9/11, they had terror drill after terror drill and had evacuated the World Trade Centers 3 separate times. They had permanently shut off floors in both buildings, and there were all sorts of weird construction workers in there. And so it's the same story again.
Okay. Ross, thanks for that. Let's go to Simon, who's in Romford. Simon, you're on the air through to Alex Jones. What's your question?
Yeah, hi, Alex, and hi, James. Judging by, I was watching Fox News tonight, judging by the way George Bush is acting, calling it Islamic fascism and all the rest of it, do you believe, I've got 2 points really, do you believe that the attack on Iran is more already been decided?
I think we can say that Alex definitely feels that's already in the can, as it were. Let's get your second one, Simon.
Well, the second one is back to 9/11. I was reading a piece in a newspaper about one of the flight that was supposedly Let's Roll. You know that one. There was witnesses saying that there was a white aircraft seen, windowless and plane, by several people. It was never taken up. Was the 9/11 fly-by-wire, was it done that way, or was it done in another way? I was just wondering what you thought, Alex.
Well, these are both good questions. Let me just try to take the second one. What I do with 9/11, we call it an orgy of evidence. If you focus on hijackers being government agents, if you focus on CIA insider trading, if you focus on public officials called the days before and told not to fly specifically to New York, if you focus on bin Laden being known CIA, if you focus on these hundreds CIA drills of flying hijacked jets into the World Trade Center and Pentagon the very day at the very same time to confuse the rest of NORAD and the Defense Department, then there's no reason to even look at that. But yeah, it was videotaped, some weird white plane over the Pentagon when all of their air traffic was shut down, a weird white plane flying over the towers. State police said they saw, planes and explosions in the 8.5-mile debris field with Flight 93. All of that is important, and, the 16-foot hole at the Pentagon, and certainly it all stinks to high heaven. But the media likes to focus on that because you can't prove it one way or the other, and we can debate it forever. I focus in on things like Operation Northwoods, which you can read at the Library of Congress or just type it into Google. Operation Northwoods is the official U.S. government plan to bomb D.C., to hijack jets by remote control and crash them, to kill Marines at bases and blame it on the Soviets. That's ABC News, Baltimore Sun, and we have the actual document. They even talk about how to frame patsies in there. So see, the media, when I had the BBC, horrible creatures that they are, here with me for 2 days following me around this weekend, I kept going, can I please talk about Northwoods? Can I please talk about public officials warn not to fly? Can I please talk about hard evidence? No. They did not. They would not. And I said, and at the end, I said, you're not going to put any of that in there. And they laughed and said, no, we're not. And I said, wait a minute. All you want to do is talk about weird conspiracy theories that I can't prove one way or the other. And I got so mad. It's incredible. They will not play on a level playing field.
Well, you know what will happen, don't you, Alex? They will make you out to be some kind of raving nutcase when I'll be interested to see that. They'll probably have you portrayed as some sort of fool. It'll be interesting. I'll let you know.
Well, you know what? They swore to me it wasn't, but I think in their own little twisted logic, they don't think it's it.
Oh, the BBC. You should have asked me first. Thank you, Simon. We're going to move on. Ali on the M1 wants to know if you can get Terror Storm on DVD.
Well, I didn't want to get up here and plug it to sell it.
No, of course not.
Because, frankly, I don't need any money. But the point is, yes, you can buy a DVD and we'll ship it out to you UPS, so you'll get it. We had to quit using the U.S. Postal Service because they can't get anything out of the country for some reason. But we have no problem shipping it to you. They're horrible. We use UPS or DHL if you choose, and we will ship it right to you in England. It comes out to about 10 pounds. No, I guess about 8 pounds. It's $19.95 to get Terror Storm. The film is 2 hours long. The extras are 60 minutes long. So it's over 3 hours long on one DVD, available at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com. You're authorized to make all the copies you want. It's copyright free. We are here to get the truth out about this situation. Believe me, if this wasn't going on, I would be on my family ranch right now, surveying, the cattle and a few pretty oil wells we've got. I would not be doing this. I'm risking my life doing all of this, not for money, but to get the truth out. If you want a DVD, they're available at Infowars.com.
Okay. 08704 20 20 20. We will take a break and then we'll come back. Alex, don't go away.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast on Talk Sport with Ford. Outspoken. Outrageous.
Fortunately, I had a pair of hotel slippers in my back house.
Which you nicked?
I slipped. No, it gets worse.
Out of the closet.
So Vicky strolls in, dressing gown on, leather slippers, Times tucked under the arm. Good morning, dearest. Are we ready?
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast this morning from 6 on Talk Sport with the new driver-friendly Ford Transit.
That's very odd, that. isn't it?
If you weren't around on the 21st of August, you might not have heard that postage rates have changed. Maybe you were in Mallorca or pony tracking in the Brecon Beacons. Anyway, post is now priced according to size as well as weight. To find out more, visit royalmail.com or call our helpline on 08456 113 113.
While you're driving, is your mind on the road or those emails piling up in your inbox? Time you got Road Safe at Road Chef Costa Coffee. Road Chef is the only motorway stop offering 2 hours internet access for the price of one. Which means you can take care of those emails over an authentic Costa Coffee, a chilled Froscato, or even a tasty panini. Thank you. So next time you see the red Road Chef Costa Coffee sign, pull over and get Road Safe at Road Chef Costa Coffee.
Auto glass repair, auto glass replace.
A chip in your windscreen could easily turn into a crack if you're going on a long journey. So call Autoglass before you set off. A repair is free with most insurers if you're fully comp, and it won't affect your no claims bonus.
Don't leave it. Get it repaired. Call Autoglass now on 0800 36 36 36.
Click TalkSport.net now.
And while you're there, may we suggest you purchase some consumables from the TalkSport shop?
No need to visit that smelly, unfriendly corner shop ever again. Click TalkSport.net for all your bloke-type requirements. And that emergency pint of milk. Clickety-click, tickety-TalkSport.net. Upon delivery, actual milk may be off.
On 1089 and 1053 AM and DAB Digital Radio, Talk Sport.
I quite like that smelly corner shop anyway. I mean, you know, I'd be lost without my smelly corner shop. It's good. We're giving away the Porsche Boxster, okay? You can get hold of the Porsche Boxster by 5 o'clock next Friday. Not tomorrow, next Friday. Very nice car. All you got to do is be the lowest unique bid in the reverse auction. And if you want to have a go, text the word car, followed by the amount in pence that you want to bid for the car, to 88821. Remember, it is the person who has bid the lowest unique amount by 5 o'clock, Friday the 8th of September, that will get the new Porsche Boxster. I kid you not, all right? So text the word car, followed by your bid, 100p, 111p, 1000p, whatever you want, to 88821. 88821. Okay, bidders must be over 16. Costs £1.50. Hello is a group promotion. Best of luck. We're with Alex Jones in the conspiracy field at this moment. Carol Bragg, Alex, has sent me a text here. She says, James, could you please ask Alex if he has heard of Common Purpose and what role the EU is playing in the New World Order?
Well, the good news is European expansion, as you know, got shot down last year. It's totally tyrannical. People who argue for world government, the American, the European, the Asian Union...
Well, it might have got shot down to you, Alex. We're about to get invaded by another few million people from former Eastern European countries.
No, I know. I mean, I'm not saying it's totally shot down, but I said EU expansion has been shot down. American Union expansion got in trouble when Hugo Chavez said no last year. But yes, and for people that argue for global government or regional government, they have to understand that they say, well, that's just the next stage. You know, we were hunter-gatherers, then we were in civilizations and city-states and then nations, and now global. This global system is run by a bunch of private global corporations that are taking our national sovereignty, our cultures, and destroying them and getting rid of our basic tenets of freedom. That's the problem. This global government they're setting up is totally tyrannical.
Okay.
So, yes, I've heard all about the EU and EU expansion and what's happening with it, and it's absolutely horrible, and you've got to not give up the pound. You've got to say no to this system. You've got to throw out all the politicians that try to get rid of your sovereignty. I mean, I've seen British polls where 78% of people are against the EU, then you should have nothing to do with it.
Right. Okay. We won't be getting rid of the pound, don't worry. Mind you, the euro may take over from the dollar, but that's another story.
Now, that's the whole plan. It's just pathetic.
Now, listen to this, okay? And I want you to listen to this carefully. Frankie has sent me an email. He says, hi, James and Alex. I just want to express my fears about the whole thing. I'm only 15. You shouldn't be listening, Alex. Sorry, Frankie, you know that. And I'm scared that I could die because of this whole mess of the government. Firstly, I want to tell you I think you're doing a great job. I've watched the movie Terror Storm, and I shall spread the word also. Finally, what can I do to help? Now, there's a guy 15. He's obviously quite frightened about this, and I do get concerned about kids who may be listening. I remember when I was about 15, 16, and we were in Vietnam, I was convinced I was going to be called up any moment.
Well, he should be a lot more scared about this than Vietnam. This is real. This is criminals.
Well, that's going to make him sleep.
Well, he should be. He shouldn't sleep. I mean, that's a normal response. That's what fear's for. It gets you out of trouble. It's to get you moving. And I'm concerned. I'm upset. Listen, our good countries have been hijacked by criminals, and they're using us as engines of global domination. And young man, Frankie, get Terror Storm. You've got the address. It's free. Forward it to everybody you know. Burn it onto DVD. Give it to everybody you know. Expose who's staging the terror, to take your freedoms, to capture your nation, to use you as a slave of the New World Order.
Okay, here's another question. Interesting one. This James from Glasgow emails us. He said, please ask Alec why FEMA and the government, FEMA, of course, is the
Federal Emergency Management Agency.
That's just what I was going to say. Took so long in acting over Katrina for the poor people of Louisiana in their biggest picture. They're in a bigger picture involved love your work as well, Alex. Okay, go on.
Oh, I can totally document that. Up on prisonplanet.com, we have a one-year remembrance analysis page. I've interviewed the sheriff. I've interviewed the mayor. I've interviewed the police chiefs. I've interviewed the emergency management chiefs in the state. Let me tell you exactly what happened with the levees, okay? Back in the flood in the 20s, they blew the levees to flood the poor part. In the 60s, they did it again. That's why people think they blew the levees this time. And police are on record seeing the explosion, hearing the explosion, seeing them break the levees. But all of that aside, we've got to shift our paradigms and stop thinking about things from a perspective of being good people. And that doesn't mean we're perfect. It just means we're not out and out evil, out doing bad things. We have to put ourselves in the mindset of the people that are carrying all this out. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, even though it looked like they screwed up with what happened 1 year and 2 days ago in New Orleans, actually did a great job according to their real operation, their real plan. When they screwed up so badly, they then roughly have had their funding more than quadrupled to the tune of over $112 billion. Now they're going to get another $100+ billion. Bush gets to give it to all of his friends. It's no bid contracts yet again. Halliburton is in there. They bring in illegal aliens from Mexico. The mayor's complained about this, who were totally taking over the city. They're doing all the construction, and then Halliburton turns around and doesn't even pay them minimum wage. So let's look at what happened then. The Defense Department and FEMA, as Hurricane Katrina came in 368 days ago when it was coming in. A day before it hit, there's a reason all the New Orleans police left their jobs. It is on record that FEMA and the Defense Department jammed all police radio communications from before the storm hit, a day before, until it went through. Then...
And what was their excuse for doing that, Alex?
Listen, they don't give one. Listen, I haven't told you anything yet. I've interviewed the police who had to have other police sit there with machine guns pointed at FEMA. FEMA came in and cut down with big metal buzzsaws and with trucks, bulldozers, knocked down radio towers. 5 days in, destroying all police communications. Just type in FEMA sabotage relief effort. Hundreds of thousands of firemen, police, and volunteers from all over Texas and everywhere in Florida were very patriotic, great gung-ho people. Well, they all showed up to help. FEMA wouldn't let them in, and Bob Richard's own head emergency manager sat there and took orders for 5 days not to go in and save anybody, and his own mother died. You can go watch the video clip right now. They talk about it. Died in a nursing home without anyone being able to come in and help them. The Coast Guard came with fuel and water and everything, and they wouldn't take it. They had to have it be as bad as possible so FEMA could then claim they didn't have any funds and needed more money. See, when they screw up in Iraq, they get to stay longer and make a $200 billion no-bid contracts a year. If they'd have got Iraq fixed and back up, they'd have to leave. You see, it's order out of chaos. Create a crisis and then get more power out of the crises.
Okay. Alex, what will the consequences and result for us that survive this World War III be? That we are currently in the early stages of. Will it be like Nazi Germany on a global scale?
Yes.
Danny in Potter's Bar.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But let me be clear. They were going to go into Iran. They're still, Israel's saying they're going to strike Iran. We can stop this. We can say no. If they know we're not going to go along with it and they attack Iran and they declare a national draft and they say line up to go kill those Central Asians, we have to say no. And when the terror attack takes place, we have to go, you carried out all the other attacks. You had the motive for the terror attack. Even if you don't believe the story that the government carried it out, the attack on Iran would elicit a response of an attack. This war is not good for us. We don't see terrorists attacking China or attacking Africa or attacking Venezuela. You know, even if you believe the official story of terrorists, why are we under attack? We're under attack because we're an empire, but not just an empire. The people aren't part of this empire. The empire sucks off us to fund this empire. It's got to stop.
Okay. Let's take some calls. If you just joined us tonight, wonder what's going on, this is Alex Jones. Alex, of course, has his own radio program in America. He produces movies. He has been for how many years now, Alex? 14?
Yeah, I've been involved on the air as a guest for 14, on air for 12.
Okay, trying to expose what really is going on. Alex wants us to know who really is pulling the strings on this planet,
yeah, I want
and who really has the power.
Yes, I want the murderers to be brought to justice, and that's why I put out the most expensive film, best film I've ever made, Terror Storm, absolutely free. And, folks, this isn't cruddy internet video. We uploaded this beautifully to Google Video. The only problem is everybody else uploaded it with bad, fuzzy copies, so it's like the fourth or fifth link is it'll say high quality. That's the one you want to watch for free at Google Video. Terror Storm, the high-quality version.
Okay, and you can get that for free. Alex isn't trying to make any money out of you. You can download it for free, and he says you can copy it as many times as you like, and you can give it to as many people as you like. Right, let's take some calls. Kev in Newcastle. Hi, Kev, you're on the air through to Alex Jones.
Hello there, I've just got a quick question for Alex.
Let's hear it then, Kev, come on.
Right, well, basically, I think Blair and Bush have this Christian propaganda about Armageddon. And I believe that the two of them want to create Armageddon because of their religious beliefs.
I agree with you so far, but finish your question and let me try to answer it.
Well, basically, I think the two of them want to create an Armageddon against, Islam, and they want to create an Armageddon to set the West against the Islamic population.
Yeah, they call it a clash of civilizations.
Yeah, because the two of them, I totally believe that them two believe in like all the bollocks from the Bible, and they want to create an Armageddon.
Let me try to respond to that, if I may, sir. That's a big question. Can I respond to that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Number one, you're right in saying that they are using Christians to get their aims across, but I assure you, George Bush and Tony Blair are not Christians. I mean, my gosh, Tony Blair's involved in every New Age quackery, on the planet. Every time he's in Central America, what everybody knows about that. The point is that they are using evangelical Christians. And I myself am a Christian, but not this type of Christian. Evangelical Christians who are into this and are saying, praise God, let's nuke all the Arabs, let's start World War III, Jesus will come back. It's total insanity. And so the neocons and the Bush and Blair administrations are manipulating and using them. And yes, you're absolutely right to that. But if you believe these men really believe that stuff, then you're wrong.
Okay. Thank you for that. Let's go to Steve in Birmingham. Steve, you're on the air through to Alex Jones.
Hello.
Go on then.
Hello.
Let's hear what you got to say.
Alex, first of all, just like to congratulate you. I've seen all of your DVDs, and I think they're all bang on.
Thank you, sir.
Right to the point. But there was a couple of things I'd just like to ask your opinion, just because you seem probably a bit more educated than most of us on these sort of subjects. First of all, the AIDS in Africa. Do you believe this can be this is man-made and maybe connected?
There's no doubt. We have the official documents. We have the purchase order over $100 million from the mid-1970s, 1976, to develop an autoimmune virus to be used in third world population reduction. We know there's a Malthusian social Darwin operation going on, and anyone who trusts the government and their vaccines is totally insane. I believe vaccines could be a good medical preventative. The problem is it's what governments have been caught adding to vaccines.
Yeah, but do you believe it could be used population controlled against our own public?
I don't believe it, sir. I have absolutely. The next film I'm producing that I've already traveled to Canada and other countries to make is on that, and we have their own words, sir. We have them saying it.
Yeah, I'm really glad. I'm glad that you're bringing it up because I feel like on a global scale, there's countries, South America, the whole continent of Africa, which have been crippled by these sort of governments.
Well, I mean, this is something that's been in mainstream newspapers.
Well, it's biological terrorism.
All right, Stevie, thanks for that. Listen, we're running out of time. Want to get some more stuff in. This is good. John, I've been racing through the emails to try and find some dissenting voices, and there aren't very many of them, let me tell you. But this one, John from Dumfries says, this is sarcasm, by the way, Alex, all right?
Sure.
Okay. He says, maybe your guest thinks the RAF bombed London during the Blitz. This is disgusting. Stop it now.
No, I don't think the RAF bombed London. They did a great job against Hitler, who was quite evil. But yes, sir, it is true that British and U.S. banks did actually fund Hitler and were a big fan of him until he got out of control. And if you don't know that, you don't know history. And George W. Bush's grandfather, Prescott Bush, was actually taken into custody and indicted, but then it was dropped for being the main Nazi banker in the United States for Fritz Thyssen.
Okay.
And my film Martial Law, by the way, is on that.
Okay. There are loads of films that Alex has made. You just have to check out his website, but he will tell us that Terror Storm is the best one.
Well, Martial Law's for free, too. You can find Martial Law for free on Google Video. But, yeah, if you want DVDs, they're available at Infowars.com, too.
That's why I like having you on here, of course, because you give us things for free. I would like to congratulate TalkSport. You have managed to get the biggest idiot from Great Britain together on air with the biggest idiot from America. Well done from Jim in Doncaster. Thank you, Jim. Nice to know that we're entertaining somebody.
But notice, James, they can't debate any of the facts. They can build straw man attacks, make fun of us, call us names. Hey, brother, I love you. Whoever wrote that. I wish you weren't so willfully ignorant. Believe me, I'm up late at night wishing this wasn't true. I got a lot of better stuff like water skiing and fishing and barbecuing and beer drinking I'd rather be doing. I don't like having to do this, boy.
Listen to this one. Shut the cranky Yankee up. His waffle is frightening me.
Well, whatever.
Waffle's a sort of toast thing out there, isn't it?
The cranky Yankee. I like that. That's good.
Well, you know what? All us Yankees come from where you guys are at, so I guess you're bad too.
Mark in Harlow. Hi, Mark. You're on the air.
Yeah, hi. Alex, brilliant stuff. Love your films, and I'd recommend Terror Storm to everybody. I just want to plug a little event, if I may. We belong to UK 9/11 forum. It's called www.911.co.uk.
Yeah, I've seen it. Good site.
Great, Alex. Thanks. We've got a major event going on next weekend, Saturday, 9th of September. Shayla's going to be there, and a major author who Alex knows, David Ray Griffin.
Yeah, he plugged it last hour.
About this. One last point about conspiracy theories. Dictionary definition of conspiracy is more than one person taking part in an event, okay? So that makes everything our government does a conspiracy, good or bad. So, it's just a moniker, it's just an epithet that people...
Yeah, that's right. It's a psychological.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. It's a psychological salve to not have to face the reality and just go quietly into the night. Some of us aren't going quietly into the night, and exactly. I mean, there are millions of charges a year in the U.S. for conspiracy. Conspiracy is two people getting together to conspire to do something.
Absolutely. Just to prove that, and that's my final point. Ask people in the street, ask your friends, ask your family, how many buildings come down on 9/11. Most of them who are ill-informed will say 2.
Well, I don't think they would, actually, Mark.
7 buildings
yes,
came
Mark.
down on 9/11. It's taken 5 years.
Mark, I think that's a little wrong. I think that's belittling the public, quite frankly. Of course they know. more than just two.
Well, I'm not kissing up to the British, and I know they're dumbed down compared to what they used to be, but compared to people in the U.S., and I say this on my own show, either the people are very informed or they're total idiots. Most Americans don't even know who the vice president is in polls. They don't know where Iraq is.
That's a worry.
Do they know?
That is a worry. It's Iraq, by the way. Right. One last thing, Alex, because we're running out of time. I've got a lot of people emailing me tonight saying I've got to ask you about Molac and Bohemian Grove.
Sure.
But quickly.
Sure, I always heard about the government and officials being involved in weird rituals. We all know about Skull and Bones now, and I'm the only man to sneak in and get footage of the ritual. I'd heard that these
I saw you on TV doing that. I saw that movie.
And we snuck in there, and we got the footage, and
they waggle their willies at each other, don't they?
It's a bunch of old conservative men rolling around naked, pleasuring each other, and they're totally rich and totally corrupt, and it's true, these people are totally insane.
John Ronson, do you remember we had him on? He was about
John Ronson actually went along and interviewed Alex about that. Listen, Alex, I've got to leave you there. It's been amazing, as always, and if we both survive over the next couple of weeks and we're still walking and talking, come and join me again in 4 to 6 weeks' time, eh?
Please don't make it so long. I'm usually on about twice a year. I'll come on anytime you want, James. And to your producer, cheers. And to everybody over in the UK, we love you. God bless. Let's defeat the New World Order and go to Google Video and download Terror Storm for free.
Thank you very much indeed, Alex Jones. I was going to say the exact same thing, Infowars.com, but he did it for me. Mr. Collins is
what
here.
Did he say? I can't help. I've had Alex on a few times.
Our willies
I can't help.
Come on.
I like Alex Jones in the same way as I like Jackie Mason and Bill Hicks. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's that kind of and Alex, like a lot of these guys, he will trouser the corporate coffer, the Hollywood coffer, if you like. You know, he's part of that system. He's been in a couple of films. He does very well out of it, and this is the way he earns his living. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but,
and it's very interesting to listen to. And I might even go to Google and download his terror cartoons.
Let me be clear.
Alex, hey, how you doing, Alex?
Hey, let me say something to that.
Yeah.
This is not how I make my money.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah, but you don't wash cars for a living, Alex, do you? I mean, you appear on shows like this and make a few quid out of it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
You make a few quid spouting your government BS, then I guess.
Yeah. What BS am I spouting?
Well, he is.
You're bringing in.
Alex, he is a tool of the government. He's a socialist.
I'm a Murdoch puppet.
I've been on your show before.
You've been on loads of times, Alex.
Sure, I like you. Listen, I'm just teasing you back. The point is, you go on the air and you get paid for your views, sir.
That's right.
I'm risking my life to do this.
You're not risking it like they love you.
Hey.
I bet you. Go on.
I'm not going to make my money back on this film I made. I mean, obviously, I've got to make a living, but what's wrong with me making a living telling the truth?
I reckon George Bush loves you, Alex.
No, George Bush does not love me. I've actually met George Bush. My sister went to school with his daughters.
I think we need a bit of everybody in this system.
Alex, thank you very much indeed. We'll talk soon. Mr. Collins, of course, has to have a period of reevaluation
and rest
and re-education
and rest.
But he will. No, you're not having any rest. You're taking over now, of course, to, as Alex quite rightly said, to spout some more
government BS, man.
Government BS.
And
I do
you're
tend
good at that.
Well, I am a big fan. Anybody that listens to me will know
you're
I'm
a big Blair
fan. Big fan of Blair. I think he's
fan.
great.
Yeah.
And everything he stands for. And I can't wait for Gordon Brown to come along because he's even better.
I think, that's a good thing about radio. You see, we can have these differences.
Yeah, we can.
We don't resort to sort of fisticuffs or anything like that. We can have these differences. And it's good for debate. It's excellent for debate.
Don't come too near me when you say that, James.
I'm not coming anywhere near. I'm sitting here. I don't know why you want to act the whole time.
Don't hurt me.